So yeah, unfortunately, I was having a fruitful conversation with the Christian Reverend brother there who was here, and I've heard that he had a very bad reputation. I was told not to talk to him, but I think I was able to develop or sustain a conversation with him. And well, he walked off because he had to leave. But his claim was that what makes the Abrahamic religion Abrahamic is the descendancy. But Abraham, if that's true, that Abraham's father, who was a pagan, who didn't believe and the master of the universe, by that definition, he should have been also considered a believer. And we know that Abraham's father, unfortunately, is a disbeliever, because he denied Abraham and he denied the God of Abraham. So descendants is not the guarantee to be included in the fold of the Abrahamic faith. What includes you in the Abrahamic faith is the spirit of the message. Okay, Abraham, being a father of a nation, yes, granted, takes on that title because he is, like Israel, once being part of Canaanites, he deliberately rejects the false gods, and that's what makes you entering. That's what allows you to enter the fold of the Abrahamic religion. And there's a verse in the Quran where it says that the Jews and the Christian claim that Abraham is one of them, but we know that Abraham came before Israel existed and before Jesus existed. So Abraham, in a very symbolic sense, is something that anyone can claim to be of Abraham, as long as you follow Abraham and what Abraham believed. And Abraham didn't believe that man, if Abraham didn't believe that stones are worthy of worship and statues are worthy of worship, then most certainly Abraham would have rejected the idea that a human being can become God. And one thing I wanted to ask him, unfortunately he walked away, was what his take is, because he was so hell-bent on Trinity, which clearly is a byproduct of the Hellenism. And this is something I feel like Christians here and Muslims have to talk a bit more about the Hellenism that was taking place at that time, and the influence of Hellenism on Christianity, and to its words, in its language, in its ideas, and how those ideas like logos creep into the theology, because and I believe away from the political reasons, there were theologians who were trying to grapple with the idea of who Jesus was, and that was the outcome, and history speaks for itself. But yeah, nevertheless, it was a good conversation. But I think we should have these conversations more, and we should also try to try different approaches. I'm trying a different approach. I am revisiting the Bible myself, and I'm trying to look at the Bible from a different perspective. And I'm not doing it to sugarcoat it, but I believe that I perhaps find a way how to speak to Christians, being a Christian myself, in a way without making them feel offended or defensive about their religion, or make them feel like they are betraying their religion. Because let me tell you something, if you are Christian and you become Muslim, you are fulfilling the mission of Isa alayhi salam, or Jesus. You're fulfilling that, and you are stepping in the footsteps of Abraham, Jacob, Ezekiel, and Daniel. You are not wavering away from that path by becoming Muslim. And I think this is a big misconception, and I will continue to have these conversations with my Christian brethren to make get rid of the misconceptions. I mean, one thing, and this is the last thing I want to say because I was going to get too long. When I was having a conversation with him about the Quran, he says that he read a verse in the Quran, mind you, a verse in the Quran that was talking about and if they and I will make them, I will seal their hearts, and forever they will be disbelievers. He was paraphrasing that ayat, and there are many verses like that in the Quran. But I said to him, but it is very unfair, and it's not for someone who seeks truth. That's not something I would recommend anyone to do. If I was to read a novel by Charles Dickens, or if I was to read lines by Kierkegaard, or if I was to read any text of significance, right, that holds quite a lot revere. Say for argument's sake, if I was to read the Gospel of John and I was only to read one verse in the Gospel of John, I would not pay justice to the form of literature. This is just me. That's just how I operate. So I disagree with him when he was saying that I read one verse and that was enough. No, if you're so hell-bent in your beliefs, and you believe that if you believe that the Quran that I'm holding here in my hands right now is from the devil, I would put all my efforts in to find mistakes in it and not just be so arrogantly dismissive of it. And I think that's the biggest problem. That's the biggest problem that Christians have, and by extension that Muslims have, that we don't really read what is in the Quran. We don't really ponder upon what is in the Quran, and we have like these prejudices, like himself. For example, you were there when he was talking about transcendency, and we were talking about paradise, and he was saying, why is the Quran talking about these fleshy things and these like worldly things? I read to him, and this is one of my favorite ayats in the Quran, Surah Al-Baqarah, ayat 177, where it talks about it doesn't matter what direction you pray, that's not righteousness alone. Righteousness is, and then it follows up with the things that you believe and the things that you do. And I just hope that we can be more clinical when we talk about these things and not always have these knee-jerk reactions when there are certain terms they don't like us. But anyway, much love and thank you for hosting me. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you for joining us. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.